Fellow Toastmasters, these are difficult times for Toastmaster clubs. This coronavirus and social distancing, it's for the dogs. But most of our Toastmaster clubs are beginning to adopt pretty well. We're doing online meetings. And if your club is not doing online meetings yet, get in touch with district, program quality director, club growth director. Anybody will be glad to help you. Your division and area directors will help too. We'll get you up and running in no time at all. And in the meantime, you can take advantage of one of the opportunities we might not have thought of otherwise, and that is to visit clubs in other parts of the world. I myself have visited clubs in China and India and the United Kingdom just this last week. I'm beginning to get kind of attached to some of these people, and I know them pretty well, I think. This is a real treat. But we all know that our hearts are with our home clubs. I belong to Pioneer 17 in Greenwood, Indiana. We're a strong and vibrant club. We do a lot of things awfully well, but like all clubs, we are suffering some attrition. Now, attrition, it's normal. Members drift away, they move away, and we make up for it with new membership growth. How do we do that? Typically, we might have an open house. How do you do that during an online meeting? We've never thought of it. We didn't know how, but I've got some good news for you. On April the 28th, the Columbus, Indiana Public Club held an online open house. As far as I know, this is the first District 11 online open house that has been held. It was a superb event. It was very well thought out, very well executed, and showed Toastmaster clubs about as well as they could be shown, which is what an open house is all about. If your club has an interest in maintaining membership growth and combating attrition, the Columbus Public Club's president, Deepti Vijaykumar, has got some tips for you. She's going to tell you what she did, and more importantly, how she did it in her club. This is a real-world experience based right here in Indiana, and if your club wants to hold an online open house, listen to Deepti. She's got some good things to say. Thank you.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I am Deepti Vijaykumar, the president of the Columbus, Indiana Public Toastmasters Club. We conducted a virtual open house on the 28th of April 2020. We had 31 attendees at the meeting. In fact, we had more guests than members that day. And I've been told by wonderful people like Mark that it was a raging success. That's what led to the discussion of us putting together something in order to share how we did it with the rest of the clubs in the district and beyond. Let me begin with the mindset that the president and the organizing committee of such an event can consider adopting. Believe, accept, manage. Believe that it's possible. If we could do it, so can you. Accept that this is the new normal. The more we hold on to the fact that this doesn't feel like a regular Toastmasters meeting, the more we come in the way of ourselves in transitioning successfully from non-virtual to virtual. Manage your expectations of how an event like this should go, considering that we are not all in the same room face to face. It is going to be quite a challenge to gauge how the event is going, to make one-on-one connections with people, for that matter, to create magic as a speaker on stage and inspire. Keeping all that in mind, I would recommend that you manage your expectations with respect to audience reaction and also guest to member conversions. Let's now get into the work that led to the virtual open house. For ease of explanation, I will divide the work into three categories: external, internal, and on the day. The external work begins with making the poster or the flyer for your event. There are a lot of user friendly and free tools available out there for you to make a neat poster or a flyer. The basics would be to have the photos of the key officers on the poster to add accountability to the event. The second would be to have just enough information so as to elicit a response from a viewer. Finally, with respect to the poster, you would want it to be compatible with as many social media platforms as possible, namely LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and text. The next thing that you need to do is to have a registration link. We used Google Forms in order to collect names and emails of potential guests. This was done primarily to protect the privacy of the Zoom account that we were using. We did not want to put the Zoom link out there in public and risk the safety of the Zoom account and also of our virtual open house. So it is a very good idea to collect email addresses beforehand and to make a list that would be used for you to send out your Zoom link, to send out reminders, and all other communication with respect to the event. Now that you have the poster and the registration link, it's now time to promote. There are two ways to promote your event. One is the targeted approach, the other is the general approach. In the general approach, like I said, each member can take the poster and the registration link and post it on their social media platforms. This creates a buzz around the event. It may not necessarily lead to conversion from viewership to registration to attendance, but it definitely creates a buzz and creates luck for your event. Let me tell you what I mean by that. In our case, we actually had a club president from New Jersey attending our meeting. Turns out, because of the buzz that we had created around our event on all the social media platforms, when she searched for a virtual open house on Google, we appeared second on that search. That's what creating a buzz on all social media platforms will do for you. The second thing is a targeted approach. Now, this has a very high conversion rate from viewership to attendance. What we did was ask our members to send out emails to 4 or 5 people that they know will respond to an event like this. It can begin with a phone call, it can begin with a Zoom meeting, and you simply have to follow up with an email with a personal message with the poster attached and the registration link. I think this led to more attendance because of the personal connection and hence the urge to show up. Finally, use the registration information of all these participants, potential participants, to send out correctly timed reminders. Not too many, not too less, and also have information evenly distributed among your reminders. And towards the end would be the time for you to stress on the rules of the participation, and also the PDF of the agenda can be attached with the final reminder. The key being is to send enough reminders to keep them engaged, but not to overwhelm them or scare them away. Let's now move on to the second category of work, which is the internal work, the work that goes on inside the club for the event. To begin with, we nudged the members of our club who are specifically very good at certain roles to sign up for those roles on the day of the virtual event well in advance. As much as it is a regular meeting for the club, it is also a marketing event for your club. So you would want the best of the best to be out there displaying their skills and expertise. Another thing that we ensured is that our meeting showcases the diversity that we have in our club. For example, one of our prepared speakers was a gentleman who was African American and an experienced speaker. The second prepared speaker was an Indian lady who was a new member and was giving her icebreaker. In this sense, we try to achieve diversity racially, gender wise, and also from the point of view of experience in speaking. It is also a good idea to have backup speeches for the day, at least one prepared speech as a backup speech in case one of the prepared speakers doesn't show up. Finally, protect the information of your guests who have given you their names and emails, because you as a club are a brand ambassador of Toastmasters International and you wouldn't want to tarnish it with any activity that leads to misuse of that information for personal promotion or economic activity. The third kind of work is the work that goes on the day, which is actually something that needs to be done on the spot. To begin with, you would need 15-20 minutes to let your guests in. On your poster, you can give your start time as 20 minutes before the start time of your meeting so that guests have time to enter, to introduce themselves. The technical issues can be solved if there are any. The president or the host of the meeting can explain the basic rules of the meeting and also to pull up the agenda and how to use it in order to keep track of what's going on in the meeting. It is also important that every person who signs up for roles does an in-depth explanation of the role that they are essaying. In a virtual setup, another challenge is to keep everyone on their toes and avoid anybody being passive, especially the guests. What worked for us was to involve guests in the table topics session, which ensured that nobody got bored and everyone was constantly on their toes and ensured active participation. Finally, I would like to say that your meeting is not a show of perfection. The virtual open house is a show of Toastmaster professionalism. So if someone makes mistakes, let it go. And also, if anybody wants to interrupt in between when something is not going right, I suggest that all members have the freedom to do that in order to ensure that the meeting remains as structured and as professional as possible. Let's not try too hard to be perfect, but let's try to show our true Toastmaster professional spirit through our meeting. These are the three categories of work that, in chronological order, lead to a successful virtual open house. It's also important to try to adopt the mindset shift that I was talking about in the beginning. This is different, this is challenging, and it's not very similar to how we conduct our meetings or an open house face to face. In our regular meetings face to face, you could have two or more people connecting with each other, forming multiple groups to network, to inspire each other, to encourage membership, and to basically have a good time. That's really not possible in this new virtual setup. The virtual setup is not a point-to-point system. It's more of a hub and spoke system. The hub being the person who is holding the stage at any given time, which is the president in the beginning, then the Toastmaster of the day, the table topics master, the general evaluator towards the end. And all communication happens only through that person. That is something new, and that is something we need to get used to, at least temporarily, so that we are able to ace this virtual way of getting things done, and especially a virtual open house. For any other questions about how to conduct a virtual open house, you can connect with us through 2481 Columbus Toastmasters at gmail.com. And if you have not seen our poster, you can check it out on our Facebook page, Columbus Toastmasters Club 2481. Till then, believe, accept, manage. Good luck.